The Supreme Court has decided for now that the Biden administration's crackdown on so-called ghost guns will stand. Those are firearms that don't have serial numbers, making them impossible to trace. Many of them are homemade. Our Weijia Jiang has more from the White House. Weijia, good morning.
Good morning to you and Maria, and good morning to everybody. So this Supreme Court decision basically pauses a lower court decision that blocked the Biden administration's efforts to regulate these ghost guns, all while the legal battle continues to play out in court. Now, police across the country say that ghost guns have played a big role in the spike in violent crime in major cities in recent years. The weapons can be bought online or in some cases even made with a 3D printer right at home. ATF figures show the number of ghost guns recovered more than doubled from 2020 to 2021. Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Amy Coney Barrett joined all three liberals in the 5-4 ruling, which allows ghost gun kits to be regulated after the ATF updated the definition of firearm to include them. Critics argue the agency doesn't have the legal authority to change gun laws on its own. The court case could drag on for years. The White House said in a statement that the Supreme Court's decision will keep in place important efforts to combat the surge of ghost guns. And it also said in that statement that Congress has to do more to take swift action to reform gun laws. Anne Marie?
Yeah, not too long ago, we actually spoke with the head of the ATF, and he talked about his frustration in dealing with these manufacturers that sell these gun kits. So they're components of guns that, you can buy and then you put it together yourself. And the concerns about people who are underage, teenagers getting access to this, they're supposed to follow the same guidelines as regular gun distributors, but they have been fighting this all along in the courts, which is how we end up here at the Supreme Court. The Biden administration has been losing until now. Weijia, what can we expect to happen next?
Well, so for now, again, this could really take a long time because this all hinges on the definition of firearm. And back in 2022, it was the ATF, because of this frustration, that essentially changed the definition of firearm to include these kits. So they're saying that, look, even though they're not put together, these are guns when they come to your house, and even though you have to do some work to assemble, those should also be regulated. And that's precisely what critics saying is not the case. They're saying it should not be left up to the ATF to determine what these ghost kits are and whether they can or cannot be regulated, whether they're actually weapons or guns or just parts. And so that's what the courts are battling right now. This ruling just says, while all of that plays out, the Biden administration can continue its efforts to try to curb them, because the lower court in Texas had blocked it to say that, we're going to put a freeze on the policy so that these ghost gun kits can't actually be regulated. But now, at least in the meantime, they can be.
Right. Let me ask you about something else while I have you. Staying in Washington, the Biden administration is expected to issue an executive order later today placing restrictions on U.S. investment in China's tech sector. Can you tell us a little more about that? And I don't know, we don't have a lot of time, but yeah, tell us more about that and some of the concerns.
Well, like many other countries, including the U.S., China is certainly trying to develop new technologies that have to do with semiconductors, that have to do with quantum computing, all of these things to enhance parts of their military. And that is why the U.S. is now stepping in to say, hey, we don't want any American money tied up in this. So there's going to be a lot more federal oversight when American companies want to invest any money into these companies in the tech sector in China, because they basically don't want to help China develop this technology to boost its military as the tensions between China and the U.S. continue to grow. But, this is just the latest branch in a big tree that I should say that the Biden administration is really growing to try to curb China and all of its efforts, especially with regard to semiconductors, which we learned during the pandemic are needed for just about everything. And that's why here in the U.S., there are a lot of American companies that are making those pieces now.
Yeah, in fact, I was going to sort of follow up with that about how the business and industry is kind of responding to this crackdown. Is it something that they're happy to see because it means we're going to develop an industry here domestically, or something that they're concerned about because there is still quite a lot of dependence on what China is producing.
Well, I think that, you could argue it both ways, right? Because this is, at the end of the day, Anne-Marie, about money. This particular executive order addresses investments. And so the president says that, we should be investing in American companies. We should be investing in American technology. So I think it just depends on who you ask.
Right, of course, like many things. Weijia, thank you very much.
Of course.